This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I am your host, Jared Malat. You can find me on Blue Sky. Here is my information. Okay. What up, PJ? Good morning, cuz. PJ. All right. Morning, morning, morning. All right. So first things first, gotta talk about it because it's gonna fucking happen, kids. And I'm sorry, I can't help. Like I have PTSD, so my emotional output is gonna be really disappointing today. I'm just letting everyone know now. Um, um, what they have tried to do over time is pull more people into participating in stock trading. Um, gosh, I could think of a whole bunch of company. What the Sam Hell? I could think of a whole bunch of companies that have been developed over time. Scott E-Trade, right, to get more people into buying stocks. And um, I watched the first thing I saw this morning was Under the Desk, and they're making a similar video to that I made talking about the this is supposed to be Black Monday, the stock market's going to crash. And one of the things that immediately I thought was I can't empathize. I don't own stock. I've never bought stock. Been offered it when I worked at Radio Shack, they offered a stock option. Obviously, when I sold ADT product and worked there for years, they wanted us to buy ADT stock. I worked in healthcare. They wanted us to buy stock in eHealth when I worked there, and then they wanted us to buy stock in healthcare. Um, for a long time, I've known the actual participation rate in the stock market in the United States matches your income level. Are you ready for this? The poorer you are, the less likely you are to trade stock. The richer you are, the more likely you are to trade stock. You want to know one of the most alarming statistics of all? Of all? You can argue about stock participation and about how Jared 58% of the United States owns stock. Right. But what percentage of stock owners are living off their stock that they buy and sell? Not very many. Okay. So the hard reality is yes, the two articles I shared this morning say if you look at market participation, 10% of the wealthiest in the United States own 93% of stock. But if you take participation out, which isn't a good indicator, and you look at the value that they hold, it's again the richest 1% hold 93% of the value in stock. Actually, they hold 98% of the value in stock. Okay. So understand when anyone is making content saying over half of all Americans own stock, this affects everybody, is merely looking at small numbers and making sense of small numbers. They're not wrong. It's just not important. What's important are big numbers, like the money value of the stock traded, and understand that most of that money is held by very rich people, like the founders and CEOs, the people that bought this election, the people who are losing their entire asshole right now are the people that are holding the stock. If you look at market participation as a metric, you're going to have empathy and you're going to say, "Oh, this really does affect everybody." But again, I work in fucking finance. People don't hold stock like that. If they do, it's like part of a retirement package. It's like their 401k is wrapped up in it, right? Which I've got on here and have been saying Donald Trump has bankrupted every business he's ever been associated with. You ought to get out of your fucking retirement and bet against Elon Musk. I'm telling you, look at the amount of money those motherfuckers are losing and say, well, what's going to replace them when they inevitably crash, right? I think Rivian is a great place to put your money if you're thinking about electric vehicles. I think Eutelsat, yeah, the Heritage Foundation, also losing their asses. Yes, Eutelsat, we talked about it yesterday. EUTELSAT. They have now replaced Starlink in 2 countries. That's a big deal. They are the Starlink competitor. Okay. And then, so I know that when you look at the articles that I posted in the comments of the videos I posted today, your gut instinct is to argue. And you're like, Jared, that says that 93% of the stock is owned by 10% of the population. And uh-huh. And that's using market participation as a metric. That's not a good metric. What's a better metric is the value of the stock being traded and who holds it. And the hard reality is, I don't give a fuck. The wealthiest 1% hold 98% of the value of all of the stock. So it's even fucking worse than what I said. Because I said 93% of all stocks owned by 1%. Because I'm not using market participation as a metric. I'm using the value of the stock and where else is the stock, right? If you make less than $50,000 a year, there's a 1% chance you own stock. You also own 1% of the total value of all stock. So the bottom half of all earners own a combined 1%. Trickle down much? And then, so think about this. If you look at the value of all the stock traded, you want to talk about a game you'll never win? People earning less than $50,000 a year own a combined 1% of all the stock wealth. Think about this. People who make more than $50,000 a year but aren't like billionaires, CEOs, and multimillionaires and shit, they own 1% of the stock. And then 98% of the value of the US stock market's held by 1% of the population. And yes, your retirement's tied up in this. Well, that seems like a loose, that's a dumb bet. In fact, I ought to start a brokerage right now, and the only investments you make are in green companies. Because that's the only thing that's going to survive all this shit. Like, we are waking up to what is expected to be the worst day, one of the worst days in US stock market history. So also let me ease you into your day and say, hey, today is supposed to be really rough, but understand the people that are oppressing you are feeling this the most. That should make it a lot easier to deal with. Yes, you're going to have a little bit of a stiff upper lip here because you're going to want to say, this is affecting me directly. And it may be, it may be, but you have two choices. You can say, oh, woe is me, or you could say the motherfuckers that started this shit are the ones eating it. Like, on the fucking whole, the biggest pain right now is being felt by the people that are responsible for the situation you're in. That will never take responsibility for what they've done to our economy, what they never mind. And here's the biggest thing about this. You know how I know Donald Trump's a massive fucking pussy? They knew April 5th was coming, that there was going to be these massive fucking protests. And what sort of counter protest were they able to put together? I'll tell you, fucking none. because what I had said was, hey man, 60 plus percent of the US population does not like Donald Trump. That was before he destroyed the economy. And now a lot of I want to say like half of all voters vote based on the economy, right? Even if they're stupid and don't understand how bad Republicans are for the economy, those people are all losing their assholes. So take great joy in that their strategy is not working, right? If those, yeah, of course they're gonna blame Democrats for this. Um, I haven't ever heard ever in my whole life heard a Democrat say we should tariff. So of course the Republicans are gonna blame Democrats. But I can promise you that every elected Democrat can define a tariff, and I'm not sure how many Republican elected officials could actually define a tariff. Um, and also, I gotta wonder how you aren't standing at Donald Trump's office door. Hey, we gotta talk. What the fuck? No, back off all this shit. Um, and I want to tell you that at some point it becomes unrecoverable and the US stock market crashes, and then we eliminate it as a determining factor of the sort of financial health of the country. And as I've said before, think about all the possibilities that lie ahead of us if the US stock market fails. Capitalism has shown you its pink underbelly and how it can just be gutted, how it doesn't fucking work. Look what's in power right now. Fascists, authoritarians, the far right, they're the ones that are responsible for all this. What is good for our people? Our massive country with hundreds of millions of people, for the record, underpopulated. Big ass country. Some cities are overpopulated, but on the whole, underpopulated. Look at the middle part of the country. Ain't nobody. I'm just speaking my mind. So what could possibly follow the fall of capitalism? Because I can promise you, if you think it's every man for himself and that you're gonna last 5 minutes in that, there's a reason I don't do prepping and shit. I don't want to tell people that you're gonna be fine in the event of the apocalypse. I don't want you spending your energy. Happy birthday, Crystal. But I watched Under the Desk News, who I appreciate, try to sell this as it affects us all. And I just don't fucking believe that because I can read math. I understand math. 6.0 trillion. That's how much value the 1% owns of the stock market. Now look at the value of the stock market and it's less than 7 trillion. So again, math. This may have an impact on your job. It may have already impacted your retirement. I've tried to sit here and tell you, get your money out of these banks, move them to credit unions, and spread it the fuck around, right? The reason that you want to get away from banks is because the FDIC is not as good for you as it has been in the past. Okay. And they're trying to pass laws taxing credit unions. So think about what Donald Trump is trying to do. It's not like he watches my content. I'm seeing what they're doing and I'm countering that by saying like, hey, get your money out of these banks because they're gonna steal from you. Get your money in credit unions. It's safer there. And Donald Trump realizes, like, if everybody takes their money out of the banks, put it in credit unions, I'm fucked. Because again, the plot is to steal all your money. I don't know if you've figured that out yet. Like people talking about this stock market crash, um, benefiting billionaires. Actually, I actually went and read a little bit last night. It doesn't benefit who you think it does. It benefits Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. They're cash rich. They pulled a lot of money out of the stock market before it crashed. They'll be the ones buying companies. Sure. And I guess if I had to decide if I wanted Berkshire Hathaway or the Gates Foundation or the fucking Proud Boys and Heritage Foundation buying up all these companies. Okay. So understand that deportation is a crime against humanity. Okay. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to do right now. Okay. He's trying to trigger the ICC. Um, the U.S. sent 238 migrants to Salvadoran mega prison, and documents indicate most have no apparent criminal records. What makes it pretty tough? Um, yeah. I mean, think about it. If they can deport people without criminal records, people that have been outspoken against this administration, right? It is exactly the Niemöller quote is exactly that. And understand that the US government has all of the ability to impeach and remove Donald Trump for this. Mhm. Yeah, okay. Donald Trump should absolutely be impeached and removed for this. And also, as I said in my video earlier that I put out this morning, kind of as the show announcement, hey, to all those world leaders questioning their relationship with the United States right now, hey, this is something we absolutely have the power to push past. First of all, oh, they're all wholly owned by Russia and Israel. They're beholden to them. They're beholden to protect those relationships at all costs because they pay better than the $174,000 a year they get for being elected officials. Because I think I see a future where Donald Trump tries to position himself to run for a third term. And again, there's no way that Donald Trump makes himself eligible for a third term. He would make Barack Obama eligible for a third term, and Barack Obama would sweep the floor with uh, Donald Trump. Again, it would be a situation where Donald Trump would be going against an actual real political candidate. And again, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama are actual politicians. But know that we absolutely also have Executive Order 13848, which requires after every election, each state involved and a bunch of relevant agencies are supposed to do an investigation into each election. And if it's all clear, the Office of the Department of National Intelligence will give an all clear. And that was never delivered. The all clear was never delivered. And we have not seen the results of that investigation. Also, we want to see the Jack Smith report volume 2. The people demand to see it. And we got to start saying it out loud. I mean, I've been saying it, but it's like it can't just be me. Not that popular. Not that many people are watching, so it's got to be part of your lexicon too. Hey, to the rest of the world, it's like we're doing this to ourselves. This is a matter of pride, and people are afraid of accountability, and a lot of people that are part of the GOP have taken money from Russia, and they've taken dark money because they couldn't get a penny bet on them here. Okay. Same thing with Donald Trump. If you've ever been to a Donald Trump property, I hate to say it like this, but now I kind of get how you end up taking money from Russia, Don, when you don't take care of shit. And again, I know I'm singing to the fucking choir, but oh, the Epstein files. Yeah, what the fuck are those? A bunch of redacted bullshit. They got fucking lit up. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were really good friends and they were around each other all the time. You know who else was there? Diddy. You want to know who else? You know what I'm saying? You want to know who else was there? Ghislaine Maxwell. You want to know who else was there? Like here's the thing. Here's the thing. I have a feeling there's a breaking point. I just don't know what that is. I would have thought the stock market taking a fucking nosedive would have triggered this shit over the weekend. They'd have done had it resolved by Monday. Okay. Um, and I have to think that like this isn't something that you could have done on purpose. So there's not a planet where I'm like, yeah, Donald Trump did this on purpose. This is what he thought was going to happen. Hell no. Here's what he does. He gets his marching orders from Vladimir Putin, okay? Who is probably giving those marching orders to Elon Musk. And then Elon Musk is breaking it down Barney style for Don. Okay? And again, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the duo of dumbassery, okay? They don't know what tariffs are for and do. Because if they did, Simpsons predict April 12th he's in a casket. Interesting. Well, we got 5 days, S&M. Let's try to hang in there, okay? So yeah. By the way, big crowd on YouTube today. Love y'all. Glad you're here. Just hamming it up in the comments. Dig it. Um, but yeah, I woke up on that where I was just like, don't try to sell me. This is gonna impact all of us. And it's like, if you were thinking about retiring and your 401k was tied up in the stock market, yeah. If you are a stock trader, yeah. Uh, if your income is reliant on profit made in the stock market, yeah. But I don't know those people. I'm positive. I'm not friends with those people. Those people are not watching my fucking show. Okay? If they are, You know what I mean? You got to be a weirdo to be rich and watch my shit, where I'm literally talking about socialism, where I'm laughing about the crashing of the stock market and shit. And I get that I shouldn't be laughing, that it is an indicator of the health of the United States financially. Um, but as I've told you, as I've told you, as I've told you, get to know your fucking neighbors, okay? Your relationship with your neighbors doesn't give a fuck about the stock market. Grow a fucking garden. A garden you grow, they don't give a fuck about the stock market. Get a generator and fucking solar panels so that inevitably, how about that for a word? Inevitably, when the people that are not getting their way, that are in power right now, start attacking infrastructure, bridges, power plants. First of all, you heard me say it. When the people in this country that aren't gonna get their fucking way, when justice does come around, okay? Because like I said earlier in this show, Donald Trump is really flirting with ICC charges. There's a reason he's trying to destabilize the relationship between the ICC and the United States, which is already kind of on the rocks, is because he knows it's coming. He knows it's coming. And I'm not saying it's forever that you're going to have to live without being reliant on the infrastructure that you've come so used to. Christina, every day when I wake up and I find out that that man is alive, it is a shock to me. I literally am like, what? Like he woke up too? Um, so I don't know that he makes it through the first year. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I, 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 I'm telling you, it's about habits. It's about habits, Christina. It'd be different if he was making life-changing changes. I would be like, oh, his prognostication's good. He's gonna live it out. He's gonna be an old man. No. You know, one of the ways I knew Donnie ain't gonna make it, he don't walk when he golfs. You know what I'm saying? He rides the cart to the ball. And he's not good. Over the weekend, Donald Trump won another fucking club championship. I just want you to know he cheats at golf to the surprise of actual no one. Like, several people just rolled their fucking eyes. Like, no shit, Jared. He breathes oxygen too, but he doesn't walk when he golfs. He doesn't have a healthy diet. He's a druggie, and apparently he's like a 50 years ago kind of druggie where he just does blow all day. And I think he does some ketamine in the evening or some shit. Okay? So, understand, listen, if there's anything I've ever learned is you can't do it all, kids. You can't have bad sleep pattern, don't drink water. He's constantly sucking down fucking Diet Coke. You have a shitty diet. He can't even walk, period, much less like walk to golf. Like his physical activity is him getting off a cart, walking to a ball, hitting it. Get back in the cart, drive to where he hit it again. He's not doing physical activity. Yeah. There's a reason I sit here every day and I say, listen, you're going to outlive this motherfucker. Get 8 hours of sleep a night, hydrate, eat right, exercise. As I'm telling you, I don't. If he makes it to the end of the month, it's a shock. The way things are going right now, it's fucking Monday. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Allison. Thank you. You saw the same thing I did. He's fucking dragging himself. And I honestly think it was like a national and international security issue. And they realize he's on his fucking way out. And the thing you don't want to do, and I keep saying it because people keep coming to me and they're like, "You were in the Marine Corps infantry. How come you're not talking about unaliving Donald Trump or Elon Musk? How come that's not your message? Like you were in the infantry, super fucking violent." And I'm like, you must really not know the infantry. Um, actually, actually, uh, I would want to assess the health of the leadership because naturally I want to cut the head off the snake. And when I find out that he won't even submit to a unbiased third party to do a medical exam. Put that in your brain hole. How many shots are you firing at the people that he pushes around knowing that he can't even pass a fucking physical exam? Fucking none. That guy's on his way out. Let him do all the dumb shit. Let him do all the dumb shit. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. Every day, that motherfucker wakes up and goes out of his way to make all of us fucking miserable. The one thing that you know is that his fucking habits are gonna kill him. It don't have to be without a shot fired. And if you have a percentage chance of eliminating the head of the snake without firing a shot, you take that. It's gonna suck for a while. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. But that he has long since, yes, denied an impartial third party from doing a physical exam on him. Yep. So not only is there not a third party impartial physical exam done on this man, you watch him and you're like, "Oh, he's in fucking denial." Excuse me, burp. Where he is health-wise, he's in fucking denial. And you know what his thing is? Donald Trump thinks, Donald Trump thinks, I'm gonna die and none of this shit matters anyway. So fuck it. Every day when he wakes up, he's trying to figure out another way to fuck us over, right? Because he's never felt loved. He hasn't. Look at his parents. They're terrible people. Look at his wife. Look at his current spouse, Melania. Look how she acts towards him. She won't even touch him. She's revolted by him. She literally shows more love to other men than she does to Donald Trump. And I have been saying for a long time, this shit's gonna catch up with him. All this shit that he's done, if he ain't wearing it already, he will. Maybe one day he has a fucking synapse in his brain fire correctly and he remembers, and all of a sudden he realizes all the horrible shit that he's done and all the people that he's hurt, right? And he says, we gotta go and do all this shit. I'm a fucking Democrat. I've been a registered Democrat. I gave them $30+ million. I sponsored fucking Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton when they were running for office. Yes, that shit was staged, you see. Here's the thing that Donald Trump had to know. He was not winning the election if he didn't do something outlandish. And the thing about it that had happened is that plenty of people been shot or shot at while they're in the process of running for office, and none of them win. In fact, they lose pretty handily typically. That's one of the things that made me realize, like, oh, there's no way Donald Trump won this fucking election. He got fucking he had an assassination attempt. They don't win. And then you find out that he staged his own assassination attempt. That kind of throws a wrench into your fucking statistic, right? When now you're like, oh shit, now you gotta think about the fact that like he staged the shit himself. Or like his people did. But again, I want to go back to talking about this Black Monday. Read the whole article. The same article you get, the participation by the Americans in the US stock market's an all-time high and 58% of Americans own stock. That's not the good numbers. That doesn't matter. What matters is the money, the wealth of that stock. Where is it? $6.0 trillion held by 1% of the US population, which is about 93% of the value of the US stock market. 1% of stock is owned by 1% of the value of the US stock market is owned by the whole of Americans making less than $50,000 a year. Talk about trickle down. And then there's this 6%, 7% of the US stock market that the value of that is held by people that make more than 50,000. And again, I'd say trickle down. The Secret Service was laughing when they went to get him caught on camera. Such a crazy. It feels like we're in the Upside Down. For those of you that watch Stranger Things, you know what Do Not Disturb is. Anyway, amazing and always too short. So yeah, let's take a look here. Texas has this measles outbreak. They sent RFK Jr. to Texas after a second unvaccinated child has died. Vaccinate vaccinate people. Like what the fuck? I didn't know that I would. Chinese woman overstayed. Refresh, get out and back in. Refresh, get out and back in. Going in and out. It says I have an excellent connection. It says stream health. Excellent. How can I be going in and out? Yeah, I'm like refresh. Yeah, because I have a third party application that looks at the stream. Yeah, every now and then you're just gonna have to refresh. We got a lot more people in here than we usually do. Yeah, not by a lot, like a couple. And hey, sucks parents make deadly mistakes for the kids all the time. Don't buckle them, don't vaccinate. Yeah. Yep. I remember when I was growing up, um, I mean, if you really think about it and you think about the time frame that I grew up in, uh, street racing was like a big thing. And I grew up outside of Chicago and outside of Indianapolis. And if you think they don't street race, you're fucking stupid. And it's just denial. But when I was a young man and Fast and Furious had come out and street racing's already a fucking thing, my dad, in my opinion, smartest thing that man ever did was my family started drag racing. We took us to a racetrack, and my brother and I were part of the pilot program for the junior NHRA. So my brother and I were the first wave of kids driving junior dragsters. And my brother and I have drag raced as adults. And I've also not had a fucking speeding ticket, and I don't remember how long. More than a decade. It's been more than a decade since I had a car crash. Always wear my seatbelt. Hell, I don't even drive if I don't have to. I'd rather just have it delivered. We live in the future, right? Everything but flying cars, right? Um, and I think it's because of my exposure, like walking around with earplugs in and an over the ear headset on for years of my fucking life, watching people race legally, pay to do so, travel all over the country to do so, um, kept me from street racing, actually. It kept me from getting other people into street racing. When I was on active duty, every now and then I'd go out to Onslow Raceway. Why? Because some of the guys that I hung out with, because of who I am, naturally beefed up their cars a little bit and wanted to go test it out. And Malat told us that he drag raced when he was little, and it's a place you can go pay $20 and get an actual slip of paper that says how fast you was going and shit. That isn't a fucking ticket. And there's guardrails, and it's safer. hmm Now, it's not great for the fucking environment, right? But my parents got shit at church, especially when we were kids. Oh, you guys were drag racing? Oh, that seems dangerous. You know what's fucking dangerous? Handing a kid's a key to a car that he's barely fucking driven, that he's only ever drove in a controlled environment at a low rate of speed with no fucking traffic, and you just expect that kid to get himself to and fro? CC, I don't see that. Oh, I see a lot of the GOP because there's an application where you can see their investments, and that's not what I see. So I need to see a source that shows me the GOP was ready for this, because I can tell you that that's not true. I can tell you people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's like one of the fucking ringleaders, she's losing her ass. A lot of those Republicans were also heavily bent on Palantir, which is losing its ass. A lot of those Republicans were also bet real big on Tesla and fucking Starlink, and that's losing its ass. They were also invested in social media companies. Those are losing their ass. Jesus Christ. Ooh, here's an exclusive. How Goldberg got added to that group chat. Hmm. Here you go. In case you wondered, there's the story. Mistake was months in the making. Oh, Mike Waltz added Goldberg to the group chat by mistake. He saved his number as someone else that he intended to replace it. And so, huh, okay, okay. Hmm. This is interesting. How about a closed door meeting at the Federal Reserve today? Hey, Tanya, I'm just telling you what the article said. We shared the thing about them removing the likeness to Harriet Tubman, right? We shared that. Yes. Okay. Make sure we share that. Fucking sad. Man. Yeah, economy is pretty cooked, kids. It looks like Ukraine's gonna be exporting top to bottom, inside out. Yeah, there's not. Hey, there don't. One of the things you don't have to worry about with this administration is competency. You don't have to worry about that. There's not a lick of competency in that entire gaggle of fucks. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm a firm believer in this country should be run by women. So, like all of them, not just Donald Trump, fucking Mike Johnson. Who's the? There's one of them motherfuckers that scares me. Every time he opens his mouth, I'm like, is he gonna jump over the table and fist fight somebody? Um, yeah, anger's their only emotion. Um, and the more this drags on, the more I'm like, I understand why the Democrats have largely remained fucking silent. Because you really don't have to do anything. These idiots are doing it themselves. Like, I don't want my name in the paper next to what they're doing. I don't want people start associating me with them. Um, I thinking you had a hand in it. And the more I think about it, I'm like, you know what? Vote to confirm it. Vote to confirm Hegseth. Vote to confirm because they're fucking idiots. You can defeat that. They're stupid. We can outfox that. That's why, hey, I know you think politics is an ugly game. You know it's even uglier when they put an idiot up and the Democrats are like, yeah, 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 that guy, that guy. Put him up, put him there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't work out for them. Yeah. No, 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 no. I get it. We are all like, oh my God, they're friends. Oh my God, they hang out after. No, no, bro. No. The reason the Democrats like, yeah, go ahead and confirm him, because they were like, yeah, we could beat them. That ain't nothing. You ain't shit. Sign him up. I got that. And that's how it's been. That's how it's been since this election. Is everyone's like, no, go ahead, you talk. It's your turn. You won. Oh, they gonna do that dumb shit. Who? No, I ain't saying shit. You just keep going. Oh my god. Can you imagine having voted for this? You want to talk about yourself? Holy shit. Not only incompetent as fuck, but like destroying our way of life. And when asked last night, I think he was asked yesterday about this, about are you aware of your tariffs and the effect they're having on the economy? And he was like, "Oh, it'll bounce back. It always does." Don, there's some points to which you're not recovering. So, and also want to point out presidents don't normally get to lay tariffs. Also, I think when I look at the IEEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, from which Donald Trump is laying these tariffs, I don't actually think he's meeting the requirements to lay these tariffs. So again, I want to point out the fact that the president of the United States is a fucking idiot and also typically doesn't get to lay tariffs. And also, um, in order to lay those tariffs, there had to be a national emergency. Donald Trump said it's because we're in a trade deficit, but that doesn't constitute a national emergency because we haven't had a trade surplus since 1975, and our stock market was fucking kicking ass. Yes, Mark Wayne, that's what we were talking about. It's always fighty. Try to fist fight a union leader and shit, and the guy was like, "Yeah, yeah, let's fucking go, you idiot." Yeah. Only in his delusional mind are political differences decided by a fist fight. You know how fucking stupid you gotta be? We could settle our differences with a fist fight. Oh yeah, are we gonna get free healthcare if we lose? I don't understand. The fuck are you talking about, pussy? Why don't you write a book? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. There's a reason I don't like say people's names and shit. But that's the thing about this election that I will always come back to. You don't see a lot of my comment talking shit to Trumpers because there ain't that many of them. Remember, a social media firm did an audit of Donald Trump and Elon Musk's social media profiles and found, including Truth Social, 90% of their following is fake bots. And you gotta remember, and one of the things that every now and then you've gotta just slap yourself in the forehead, like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. When you are arguing with a Trumper on the internet, there's a 90% chance that that's a fucking bot. So do you see how now I'm telling you beyond a shadow of a doubt, too many people are putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Y'all are sitting around thinking about all the people that voted for this, and it's like, yo, they're not nearly as popular as they think they were. As the election results stand, a quarter of the US population voted for him, less than a quarter. And then if you factor in the fact that he fucking cheated in this election, that means that man, that's the president of the United States, less than 20% of the US population voted for that. That means less than 1 out of every 5 people. And we could keep fucking going. I want to know the actual results of the election, and I'm telling you, hey, Donald Trump won this election by a combined 150,000 votes. There are 4.5 million votes held up right now. Do you think Donald Trump won this election? Just knowing those two numbers, he only won by 150,000 votes across 5 states. And also, there's like 4.5 million votes that they don't even count. Think about that. You still think he won? Don't consider the fact that he cheated in the election and that there's a data that suggests that votes were doctored. How many of them? Yeah, but again, Crystal, that's speaking to your anecdotal experience, and you got to factor in that the part that there's like 350 million people and again, that's even too high. 335 million people in the United States, and it's like I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I went out to a protest yesterday. I saw 5,000 protesters and zero counter protesters in Indy. Yes. Yes. There was a failed counter protest in Lafayette, Indiana, in which the organizers of that failed protest showed up at the protest in Lafayette, pulled up to a pedestrian protest, rolled down their window, and used the bullhorn on the audience. And when they got shit talked back to them, the driver got out and went to confront a bunch of people. Okay. One versus 100. Got headbutted and then went back to his vehicle and got an AR out and waved it around in front of everybody with absolutely no intentions of firing that weapon. And I'm telling you, they're going to get robbed. That truck's going to end up on blocks with the motor, transmission, all four tires, and the entire inside gutted, and he's going to lose that fucking firearm. Also, I've come to understand his name, age, and employer, but because I'm not trying to go to jail for that dumb shit, I'm not gonna, that shit's already all over the internet. Okay? He's gonna lose that job. He was probably losing that job anyway. Okay? So understand, they were lashing out, and the only thing they could think to do was go have a negative interaction with people that they see themselves diametrically opposed. But I can, as I've said this whole time, it's not left versus right. Stop making this a left versus right. This is up versus down. This is rich versus poor. We keep wanting to say left versus right. Here, let me break it down for you. Conserve what? If there's so much of a left versus right in this country, can you tell me what conservatives stand for? No, you cannot. You cannot. Because their actions don't match their words. Therefore, they don't have a platform. You could say the same for fucking Democrats. What's their platform? Oh, they don't fucking have one. Ah, that's a problem. We're not Republicans? That's not a platform. So, as I've said, it's not left versus right. Democrats and Republicans don't even have platforms. This is rich versus poor. And there's a whole bunch of people that think they're rich that are about to be poor. Whole bunch of people that thought they were rich that are about to be poor. Mm-hmm. Yup. Hey, S&M said their neighbors invited us to their church service for Easter Sunday. Okay. Hmm. Good versus evil. But you got to remember, one of the things that I'll go to sleep every night on. There's a group of people in the United States that are hardcore capitalists, and that's the problem right there. Is people that say capitalism is what built the United States and it's the only economic model I understand. And I just wanted to point out that the socialist economic theory, the the economic theory of socialism is that rent, interest, and taxes are derivative of your labor and should be eliminated. And I agree with that. I think if my tax money is largely going to go to Elon Musk, I don't want that to happen, right? April 12th is also Passover. I also wanted to talk about protest. I'm hearing April 19th and the 30th. I think the 30th is in DC, okay? But the next hands-off protest is the 19th. Okay. Um, yeah, they're saying 5.2 million people um, protested on April 5th. Stock markets the world over are crashing too. This is weird. U.S. warns the EU against excluding American companies from a $150 billion defense initiative, which can supply Ukraine with weapons. So it's like they want their cake and they want to eat it too, right? These U.S. defense contractors that probably largely supported this are now threatening the EU. Jesus. By the way, sell, sell, sell. Sell, sell, sell. Get out of the fucking US stock market. If you are sitting on your 401k and you're losing your ass, you gotta get your money out. Listen to me. I know that you don't want to hear this. You want someone to tell you that everything is gonna be okay. I smelled this shit coming, I swear to God. Ask my wife. About a fucking year ago, I took all my money out of Vanguard. Now, did I have to fucking do that? I don't think so. But I foresaw a situation in which Donald Trump does become president. I foresaw he's gonna fuck shit up. The U.S. healthcare, uh, the U.S. healthcare system is failing. Those corporations are failing. Capitalism is going to fail here. It also might fail worldwide. I'm just not as informed on world markets. Okay, I'm not a stock trader. I'm not trying to tell you to invest. I'm telling you to divest. I'm telling you to get the fuck out while there's value to what you have. And if you need to invest and you need to make money on your money, Eutelsat, EUTELSAT. And I also like Rivian as a long-term bet because Tesla's gonna fucking fail. And I don't think it's Chevy with the Blazer EV or Ford with the Mach E. I think it's an electric car company that's going to be and I think that's Rivian. Okay. And again, I'm not a stock trader. Okay. I'm a data analyst. I look at situations and I look for obvious solution. What is an obvious solution? Who caused your 401k to lose all that value? This administration did. Elon Musk did. Vladimir Putin did. All these Republicans in power did. All of them took money from Russia. Hmm. Hmm. And remember how Donald Trump said he would end the Russian-Ukraine war? Russia continues to reject ceasefire claims, so it can keep attacking from sea. Growing shareholder opposition. Ruh-roh. Chairman of BP to step down. Interesting, interesting. Hamas leaders asked for $500 million in 2021 to destroy Israel within 2 years. I can't believe the US stock market is crashing and Donald Trump wants to talk about his golf game. He's like, hey, by the way, I won this shit. Like, Don, read the room. Look at this Trump military parade on June 14th to White House. Morning, Deanne. Morning, everybody. Trump has commandeered Saturday, June 14th, the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and as it happens, Trump's 79th birthday, for a military parade. Hmm. So put that on your radar. Okay. Again, I'm hearing the 19th is another here from Newsweek. Yeah, I don't think he makes it to his birthday. Okay. Planned protests April 19th, nationwide, anti-Trump, 50-51, hands off. Okay. It's on a Saturday. Okay. Nope, ain't making it to his birthday. Oh man, it's funny. Yeah, that's so funny. On our 50501, right? Like you'd think, okay, that the top this is how like I don't run this, right? I just work here. Okay? On our 50501, okay? Look, I'm gonna show it to you. On this subreddit, what's the number one link? The number one link is a review of the protest, okay, from Saturday. Okay. On our politics, okay, Go to our politics. The top story is the Newsweek article talking about 5051's hands off protest on April 19th. So you see how there's a little failure to put at the top of our 50501, hey, we're getting back at it 2 weeks later. Okay. So keep in mind, every Saturday is a Tesla takedown protest. That's your local Tesla dealership. Okay. We just passed our first hands off protest this month. Okay. There is a the next hands off protest on April 19th, another Saturday. Okay, your state capital about noontime, same bat channel. Okay, and then on April 30th in DC, there's another protest. I am ultimately not a big fan, burp, and not want to support pop-up protests or single city protests. Why? Uh, Washington, D.C. is not where these people live. So, for all of you that are like hardcore protesting and like are willing to travel across the fucking country and shit, you're wealthy. I would rather support a nationwide protest. This is a big country. We're all spread out all over the country. And I think when you try to have a protest in a single city, you forget that most people are poor. Most people are poor. And if you don't treat your audience, the people that you want to show up to shit, like they're poor, no offense, y'all, how the fuck are the poor people that are in your audience going to show up? So that's the biggest problem I have right now with trying to concentrate a protest on a single city is that go to your state capitals. This is where their offices are. This is where they spend more of their time. They're not in DC all the time. Yes, there are times when your elected officials are in Washington D.C., but most of the time they're in your state capitals. So if you want your protests to be effective, okay, it is about working with as many people as you can work with in your state capitals. Now, you'll never see me shitting on protests in smaller towns. You do you, boo boo. I'm just happy you're standing up and saying something instead of sitting in your house freaking the fuck out, which is what a lot of people are doing because they're scared. Okay? And for the record, I don't blame people for being fucking scared. It's crazy times. Okay? It really is. Don't let anyone tell you differently. This isn't at all something that we planned or this is what we thought was going to happen. Or this is what's good for us. But it does give me a lot of solace in knowing I've never been rich enough to buy stock. Okay. Yeah, they're eating the checks, eating the balances. I saw that. I've never been in a financial position to buy stock or care about the stock market. I've been too busy working and living paycheck to paycheck most of my life, like most of the people that I know. And it feels kind of fucking tone deaf to implicate that we should care about the stock market when this country did this to us. They kept wages low so that you couldn't invest and get out, like the pathway out of poverty, right? And now this administration is trying to eliminate all of the pathways out of poverty, right? Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP, education benefits, right? Hell yeah. Well, I mean, the 65 and up crowd, I expect, because their parents fought in World War II. Them and their parents fought in World War II. So they were the original Antifa. And in case you were wondering, I am Antifa. I'm broadcasting live from Antifa headquarters. In case you Antifa stands for anti-fascist. The people in power right now are fascists. Just in case you didn't know, what is a fascist? Okay, what is a fascist? Is a far right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forced suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race, and strong regimentation of society and the economy. Opposed to Marxism, democracy, anarchism, pluralism, free markets, egalitarianism, communism, liberalism, and socialism, fascism is the far right of the traditional left-right spectrum. Okay. Rose to prominence in the early 20th century Europe. First fascist movements emerged in Italy during World War I, thanks Italy, before spreading to other European countries, most notably Germany. Fascism also had adherents outside of Europe. Fascists saw World War I as a revolution that brought massive changes to the nature of war, society, the state, and technology. The advent of total war and the mass mobilization of society erased the distinction between civilizations and combatants. Okay. So to say that the United States hasn't been headed this way for a long time is kind of dumb, right? For a long time, this country has been pro-gun, pro-war, and pro-military. Tell me I'm fucking wrong. And I'll never forget how bloodthirsty motherfuckers were after 9/11. I'll never forget that. Now, I'm not saying the people that were bloodthirsty are also the same people that sent us into war, but you can draw a distinction between you opening your mouth and something fucking happening, right? So, for the record, I remember after 9/11, there was a lot of people out here that was calling every brown person a towelhead, fucking and for the record, the more I think about it, the dumber it is, because it's like, you know what? Every racist motherfucker out of 9/11 that I heard talking about killing all these brown people wasn't in the military, wasn't a cop. It was some do nothing, like someone absolutely not in a position to do something about it, telling other people. And the thing about it is, I've realized it too. I've seen a few content creators on TikTok calling for fucking violence, and then I think about they would never do it themselves. They're telling other people to be violent while they sit on their pedestal. And it's like you wonder how you got here, how you got to full-blown fascism. Look at what happened after 9/11. Are you surprised with how pro-military, pro-war, pro-violence, fuck education, Haji, we got to kill Haji. Dude, I was in the Marine Corps. I was in 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines. They were the most combat deployed. Where do you think I picked up the language? Imshi Udeki, right? And people are always say shit like people that join the Marine Corps are the people that are bloodthirsty or are crazy and want to commit murder and get away with it. That couldn't be farther from the fucking truth. In fact, remember that I told you this. They'll send National Guard in before they'll send active duty infantry in. They value our lives to the degree that there are plenty of people that signed up and did not want to see combat. That was why they took the job they did in the military. And they saw combat first. So I always think it's funny when people are like, Oh, are you combat vet? Did you go to Iraq, Afghanistan, fuck some shit up? And it's just like, what? First of all, 1.5% of all of the people that have ever served saw combat. 1.5%. That is not why I joined the military. Wasn't why I joined the Marine Corps. I just knew that a fight was coming and I did not want to be unprepared for a fight. I just didn't think that 20 years later, an entire political party in the United States would be beholden to Russia, and half of another political party in the United States would be beholden to Israel, one of which is committing genocide and the other illegally invaded a neighboring country. Yep. And so all those companies losing their asshole right now are responsible for the death of all of my friends. They did that shit too, and they're responsible for this. The media is. So let them eat it. Because you know who else's stock is fucking crashing? CNN, Fox News, CNBC, MSN, they're all losing their asshole too. And what they're losing is a lot more. They're losing a lot more money. And good. And good. In case you wondered why I never took my talents to South Beach, meaning like why I never tried to get a job in the media, I didn't want to be told what to write or what to say. And we were bordering on my content being over moderated. Jesus Christ. Remember a few days ago we were talking about 423 people have measles. We're at 480. In 3 days, we went from low fours to almost 500. So you gained at min 20% in 3 days. So remember to mask up, by the way. I would say that. Vaccinate, read books, right? Get 8 hours of sleep a night. You probably need a nap, okay? You need to hydrate and eat right. And if you're going to do all that shit, you might as well exercise. And remember, I've told you, if you're going to exercise, you're going to plateau, you're going to bitch about plateauing, when I'm going to ask you, are you running and lifting in the same session? And you're going to say yes. And I'm going to say split your workout up. Lift in the morning, run in the evening. Probably need to go like 6 days a week. Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm only telling you what the public numbers are, Tanya. I'm sure it's worse. Yep. Without beyond a shadow of a doubt. Hmm. All from one family going out on vacation out of the country with an unvaccinated child. It's almost like the decisions you make in this life actually echo for an eternity and they actually matter. It's and again I found out Marcus Aurelius didn't say that. That's just a line from Gladiator. It's almost like the butterfly effect is real. and like risk management is a thing. So it's about that time for some Meet the Rich and some get the F's out. Okay. It's no, they got a 75-day extension, Albie. They got a 75-day extension, and we got banned for 3 days for asking if Elon Musk is retarded. I said it. It's my fault. But it was like, is that motherfucker retarded? Like, and I don't even mean that. I mean, his mom said he's developmentally disabled. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of him straight on. So it's like, is he fucking cross-eyed? And then I'm not even making fun of people that are cross-eyed or developmentally disabled, but it's like some of the decisions that this, sorry, talk myself in circles. Three or more, Deanne. Bird flu, COVID, and TB or measles. So at least three, if not more. Yeah, I'm not gonna be upset. I'm gonna say I made a mistake. That was my fault. Even my wife was like, "You shouldn't have blurted out. Is he fucking retarded? Like he shouldn't have done that." And I was like, "Okay, you're right. Sometimes I can't help myself with this administration." Because understand the reason that I'm saying that is because Donald Trump's tariffs are affecting. I mean, not only is Starlink, Tesla, Twitter losing its asshole, but the tariffs are also fucking him over. And I heard something yesterday, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want anyone to be like, "Where'd you get that?" But I heard that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are like arguing, like having a verbal spat over these tariffs. I again, not something we talked about at length today because it was just kind of like I don't know if that's real. But I kind of think, part of me kind of thinks there might be some infighting, and that's the true joy of all of this. If we're gonna be miserable, let them be miserable too. Okay. Yep. So I try not to push everything as Bible, right? And be like, oh yeah, this happened too. It's like, no, I don't actually know that until I see a video. I have Skylight, by the way. And I can't post videos in excess of 3 minutes there, just so everybody knows. Okay. Health agents told to pause communication in January. Awesome. Yeah, my wife and I are about to have a fight over her trying to push a dog on us when we have four and three of them are pit bulls. Two of them can't even be in the same room. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about, babe? Anyway,